Yulia here. Today, I have a very impressive guest with me. His name is Beveridge, the CEO and founder of the T-ROC, the revenue optimization companies. Brett has a very impressive career in technology and retail, starting and exiting multiple businesses, including retail organizations. Brett is also a recipient of a Golden Stevie Award for Entrepreneur of the Year 2018 and Ernst & Young Florida Entrepreneur of the Year 2017. Thank you so much for joining me today, Brett.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
And so I guess we'll just dive right in. There are so many interesting insights that I want to ask you about today, and I'll start with my first question, which would be, can you please share 3 to 5 examples of key in-store sales strategies and training strategies that the retailers should be adopting today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we're in the face of this unbelievable pandemic and other disturbances in our country right now, and it definitely has impacted how retailers have been performing and probably how they will be performing into the future long after a vaccine and or a preventative has been found for the pandemic. So just to level set for current purposes, what retailers are doing now, even in a sales environment or a training environment, is everyone's recognizing these kind of COVID rules and executing programs that accommodate people the best way possible while making sure that those customers and those employees are safe and taking the appropriate precautions to stay safe. So you'll see things like greeters on the outside of a retail store. You'll see kind of footprints or stickers on the sidewalk outside of the store with the proper social distancing in place. There'll be queues where people are taking information on what it is you're looking to do or what it is you're looking to inquire about today. I own and operate a large number of, as part of the T-ROC family, a bunch of T-Mobile stores. And so that requires a lot of interaction, one-on-one, face-to-face interactions with customers to demonstrate products, to help customers with their phone bill or customer service issues. So we are being very careful to make sure that we don't have more people in the store than we have salespeople. We're making sure to observe social distancing in the store. So once you actually enter the store, there'll be like-minded, stickers throughout the store, making sure that there's appropriate distance between us and the customer. We are constantly wiping down surfaces before and after every touch point with a surface. So if we are about to show someone a phone, we'll make sure to wipe the phone, hand the customer the phone, let the customer play and see and feel the device. When they hand it back to us, we'll disinfect it again and put it back on the display. So you're seeing a lot of activity like that. You're seeing exploration of contactless checkouts. You all know of the Amazon store in Seattle, that you basically walk into the store and it knows who you are, it logs into your Amazon account, you take what you want off the shelves, and then you walk out the store and it automatically charges that Amazon account. So you're going to see things like that, investments in technologies like that going forward, and what I believe retailers should adopt as the new normal well beyond the pandemic ramifications that we're going through in 2020. I also think that things like training is going to be reinvented or at least kind of doubling down on virtual trainings and the ability to see someone face-to-face or a classroom environment, but do so virtually. Web-based trainings or classes are going to be kind of reimagined, and you'll see a lot of remote trainings happen from now on. And I think you're going to see the attempt from these retailers to have contactless sales interactions. Again, at T-ROC, we have created a product called VIBA, which stands for Virtual Interactive Brand Ambassador. And basically, it's like a big TV screen that you don't have to touch to initiate a conversation with a salesperson who is a remote salesperson. So they can see you, they can interact with you, they can push content to a screen, they can take your order, they can have you pay for the item, and even have it shipped to your doorstep, all without you ever touching a specific product or service. So you're going to see a lot of that happening from now on. And as it's been kind of accelerated because of the situation that we're in today.
And from the
Does that answer your question?
Yes, you did. And I also have a follow-up question for this. So in terms
Sure.
of the training, because now, and it's in the majority of stores, there's a very, almost like a boutique-like experience for shoppers because there's one salesperson on the floor, one customer. So in terms of optimizing or changing your training for this, for the sales floor, are there maybe any tips or anything new that you have implemented in your organization or other organizations that you've seen? Is there a different way of how you're training your sales associate, how to treat customers differently or maybe use different strategies?
Sure. Well, I kind of went through some of the real-time changes that have been made as a result of COVID. So to your point, it is more like a boutique-like experience. We are making sure to reiterate that we have to wear PPE at all times, and that could include not just face masks, but also potentially gloves if that's what makes the employee feel comfortable. We are issuing face masks to our customers if they don't have one. We're not allowing them to be in the store without one. We're also making sure that even though there's 6 feet distance between you and that customer, that there's still an intimate feeling, there's still a connection. It is so important in sales today that a customer trusts you and believes in what you're telling them, and there's a lot of credibility and integrity at stake. So to have that 6 feet of distance provides a challenge on how to make sure you're establishing that relationship and that trust. But we have found that customers who see us recognizing their safety are more ingratiated to us, and the trust actually is deepened by the actions that we're taking. So from a training perspective, we are not doing kind of classroom-based trainings right now, where we gather 15 or 20 or 30 people in the back room of a classroom and having a normal training. We are seeing very effective outcomes, even more so than traditional classroom trainings, with virtual trainings, whereby you have an instructor that might be in their home or in a remote office somewhere by themselves, and they are conducting a training to 15 people across the country or around the state to provide and be knowledgeable about the products and services they'll be selling at retail. And we don't see that changing. We see long after this pandemic is behind us, there will be classroom trainings again, and there will be continue to be heavy investment in how employees are trained. But we see virtual trainings, web-based trainings as a key component of our long-term training strategy going forward.
Okay, thank you. So the next question I had for you, there was a lot of speculation of what the reopening of stores is going to look like. And so now, as most of the stores have reopened, everyone is talking and thinking about optimizations. So what, in your opinion, the retail optimization can look like now? And can you please share 3 to maybe 5 key areas of focus? And I mean everything from store or sales planning to omni-channel experience, store operations, supply chain, or even stock management.
Sure, be happy to. So again, other than this current situation that we're in with COVID, looking beyond that, what you're finding is retailers now are taking a strong look at their footprint, meaning how many square feet do they have in a store? What does their product selection look like? What is the customer experience? And you find a lot of retailers are going to landlords and trying to kind of renegotiate rents, renegotiate their store plan, their store size, and as part of that equation. They're also looking at the products and services that they sell. Do they need to have in stock every item that they have today? Or can they load their stores with kind of that 80-20 rule, where 20% of the SKUs are going to represent 80% of the sales, and incorporate things through an omni-channel presence like endless aisle, for example? Like a Warby Parker model, like a Peloton model, where you physically go in, you pick the glasses that you want, you then have a technician install the right prescription on those glasses, and the glasses are shipped to your house the next day. Same thing with endless aisle in electronic stores and other places. So being able to be really smart about your inventory selection is key going forward. And you mentioned omni-channel presence. It is absolutely a necessity for retailers to have a very well-rounded online presence. I think that's the reason that many traditional retailers that didn't make investments in omni-channel have failed over the years, but people like Walmart, who have invested heavily in things like a traditional retail shopping experience all the way through to curbside pickup. Curbside pickup, I don't think it's ever going to go away after people have enjoyed the benefits and the ease of using that kind of service. What they call BOPUS is buy online, pick up at store. So that can mean buying online and entering the store. Walmart has a central location in their stores where it's almost like a mailbox for your items. They've already been shopped, they've already been packaged, and they're just waiting for you to come pick them up in store. Home delivery is also a big part of omni-channel, and I think you're seeing those relationships continue to grow, whether it be DoorDash or Grubhub or Instacart, Uber Eats, fill in the blank. You're going to see more and more home deliveries occurring as well. So you can't just have a bricks and mortar presence. You can't just have an online presence. You have to have those two things that are very strong and core to your business, but complement those things with convenience for the consumer to receive your products and services the way that they want to see them. So I think that's what you're going to see, and that's what you are seeing in today's environment.
And from the delivery perspective, everybody is aware that there's a lot of delays in terms of delivery. Some carriers are a little bit better than others. In your opinion, does it really affect the customer perception of the brand? Because in the past that used to be the case, but do you think people are a little bit more tolerant?
I don't think they're that much more tolerant. I can tell you from personal experience, even ordering from restaurants, and I'd love to hear what your viewers think about this or say about this, but the quality of the accuracy of what you order versus what you get will make someone very angry. And they will associate that with your brand, even though it was a delivery service that somehow might have made a mistake or forgot to pick up an item. Also, the condition of your items when you get them is a poor reflection, not only on the delivery service, but also on the brand and on the retailer. So again, sticking with food, if you order sushi and it gets to your house and there's no wasabi and they forgot the chopsticks, and by the way, the whole tuna roll is bunched up in a corner and it's delivered like that, it's not a great experience. Consumers absolutely demand that they have the quality in their purchases that they had before. So delivery is a great convenience, but it can't be an exchange for that brand experience that they're used to and expecting to have from that brand or for that retailer.
And do you think there may be any recommendations for retailers how they can support the customer perception, even knowing that potentially their delivery could be late? Like, for example, I've ordered some items online and they still haven't arrived. And I'm on the fence myself. Okay, I understand it's the delivery issue, it's not the company issue, but maybe do you think there are any strategies for the brand to support themselves in this, maybe additional communication or something like that?
Yeah, I think staying in touch with your customer throughout any kind of timing or deliveries is key, and having that automated so people can go in at any time and see where their item is in the delivery process. If you know, I think it's Domino's actually can tell you from the time you place your order that Betty was the one who is going to be making your pizza today and Johnny is going to be the one delivering your pizza today, and your box will be unopened and from the time that the pizza goes through the oven until the time it comes to your home. And that's making people choose to buy pizza that way and from that brand instead of from brands that don't have that type of customization attached to it. And you know what you'll also find is that people will look around. So if they find an item that they like on XYZ website and they look at the delivery date and it's 14 days from now, they might keep searching for that product. They might go to Amazon next and search on Amazon. And Amazon might have it in stock in one of their many warehouses, and it can be delivered prime time next day. So yeah, people are demanding, and people who feel like just checking the box of an omni-channel presence or an omni-channel delivery or an omni-channel pop-up environment have to know that it has to be delivered with the utmost quality and that their brand reputation is at stake if they don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even maybe perhaps have an ability to view which orders are delayed and perhaps send an additional communication saying, hey, we know that your order is delayed. We'll do our best to help facilitate this, something like this. It's just a little piece of acknowledgement. It's all about, I guess, getting things a little bit more human, which actually leads us to the next question that I've had.
Sure.
Can you please share if you've seen any interesting example of some interesting programs or partnerships or processes that the retailers have implemented or are in the process of implementing right now?
So we can talk about all three of those different buckets and maybe a couple examples. So from a process perspective, absolutely, people are instituting, safe environments for their customers. We talked a lot about that today. I won't go into too much more detail, but making sure that, deep cleanings and social distancing and limiting hours, even in some cases. Also, you'll find retailers in some cases are opening the stores just to senior citizens from 6 in the morning until 8 in the morning, for example, to give them time to come in and do their shopping, and they feel like they're in a much safer environment. Again, we talked about some of the other partnerships like Uber Eats and Grubhub, and, trying to attach yourself to a delivery service if you don't have those capabilities on your own. Technology is also key during this whole COVID environment. And like I said before, retail artificial intelligence, retail technologies have been gaining momentum since before this year, but I think there's a greater acceptance and willingness and eagerness on the part of the consumer to embrace technology more. So for example, you walk into a retail store and there might, in the future, near future, already happening in some cases, there might be a robot that's at the front of the store greeting customers, a multilingual robot that doesn't call in sick, right? That doesn't get sick from a typical human virus in any way. And they're able to direct them to wherever the product or service is that they're looking for, or even escort them there. You have technologies like autonomous floor cleaners that are automatically cleaning floors every single day and not having the use of a person sitting on a big tractor-sized floor cleaner. You have automated technology with merchandising. So using the combination of things like RFID to tag products so they know where the product is in the store, if it's moving around the store, if it's in the wrong place or the right place, and do they have enough on the shelf, combined with technology like robots that travel the aisle, and they have high-def cameras on either side of them, and they're taking a snapshot down every aisle of every SKU on every rack, on every display, to make sure that they have the right amount of stock, that the Coke isn't where the Pepsi's supposed to be, and the Pepsi's not where the Coca-Cola is supposed to be, doing measures like that. I did mention our contactless solution called Viva that T-ROC is executing. There's tremendous interest in having that kind of engagement that feels like a FaceTime type of engagement, but you know that you can walk away at any time. You don't have to be burdened by salespeople if you don't want to, but if you do, you're not touching anything in the meantime. So I think you'll see programs like that taking place. Also, you're seeing companies pivot a lot. In our case, we are now doing assembly services. When our customers came to us and said, look, everyone wants to buy bikes. Everyone's kind of quarantined and their only outside activity is to ride a bike. Well, so we put together an assembly business that was launched in about 30 days or less. And now we're assembling bicycles, we're assembling barbecues when people are quarantined, staying at home cooking. We're assembling outdoor furniture, sometimes swing sets, things of that nature. So you're seeing a lot of very flexible entrepreneurial companies look at this opportunity as just that, and they're trying to find ways to turn lemons into lemonade. So those are some of the examples of between kind of process and partnerships and programs that we're seeing out there and that we're employing every day.
Thank you. And so from the technology standpoint, some of the examples are they're very interesting, very relevant, but they definitely are probably more accessible at the moment for larger enterprise. Do you maybe have some tips and examples for small to medium-sized retailers of what they can do to reinvent the way they are servicing their customers today that doesn't involve such a large technology investment?
That's a great question, because it's easy for me to sit here and talk about how Walmart and Target and Best Buy and all these massive companies who have huge budgets versus a smaller, medium-sized retailer that is struggling to get by. But I think there are two main things I would focus in on. One is your customer. You having a bricks and mortar environment is your biggest asset. So instead of kind of, diverting all your attention and saying, we're never going to survive because we don't have the same kind of budget that a Walmart or an Amazon has, you have customers walking in your stores every day. Establish relationships with those customers, have conversations with them, get to know them, who they are, get to know what they like about your store or your products, or what they don't, and how you can improve. Engaging with your customers, establishing those relationships will make a customer go back to your coffee shop rather than go to a Starbucks, or go to your hardware store versus going to a Home Depot, if those relationships are deep and established. Not only from a one-on-one, face-to-face perspective, but also you can invest in reasonably priced technology today to know exactly who your customer is and what they buy. How often are they in your store using that same credit card, for example? So there's lots of ways to understand, without spending a fortune, who your repeat customers are, what products and services they are buying, what products and services you should be looking to invest in and bring into your stores based on your happiest customers, and obviously why are customers not happy, or why aren't they returning, all key. Second thing I would say is you can also and must invest in an omni-channel presence. Doesn't mean you have to spend a fortune, but if you don't have an online presence today, there are so many kind of out-of-the-box solutions for you that kind of turnkey an online version of your bricks and mortar store that also has omni-channel components attached to it. So I would absolutely, it's a must to have that omni-channel presence. You have to be very strong in online, very strong in offline, and those other areas like curbside pickup. One, is convenient for the consumer. Two, it's why they'll choose to go back to you. And three, it's also checking the box of establishing a great relationship. So I would combine excellent customer experience, doing things in your stores, beyond just getting to know the customers, whether down the road it's having a how-to clinic, whether it's free coffee, what other ways would someone choose and be looking forward to getting into your store versus otherwise. Now, it's easy when you think about things that are impossible or very difficult to do online. You can't get your hair cut online, right? You can't get your oil changed online. You can't go to the pub and have that great burger with the football game on, with your friends. So they have advantages. They still have an omni-channel presence, but they have other ways to engage with customers. So look at your particular environment. Look at ways for you to be able to engage with your customers. One thing I think is also you're seeing a lot of today, and you saw it start on the online side of the house, is subscription-based services, right? So like Fix, for example, where every month you get a box that has clothes in it based on your wants, your styles, your applied preferences. I would see if there's a way for you to apply some sort of subscription model or membership model or customer rewards model in your stores. That will keep people coming back. And obviously, if you're able to generate $5, $10, $20, $50 a month from each of your customers, predictable revenue, valuable revenue for your enterprise, that's another huge area that you might be able to focus on. So for example, someone might say, you know what, yeah, I'm coming in every month to buy at my hardware store water softener for my water at home. Well, I'll tell you what, we're just going to automatically ship you a bag of that water softener to your house every month, because that's how often you come in to get it. See that? So things like that are super important to establishing those relationships, maintaining those relationships, and making the fact that you're not an Amazon or a Walmart, make it to your advantage, not your disadvantage.
And are there any particular tools that maybe you can think on top of your head that could help that the retailers could adopt? Maybe some particular companies that you know of that you think are good in delivering on those things?
Yeah, Well, I mean, the delivery services we kind of talked about, those are the most obvious ones, the DoorDashes, Grubhubs, the Instacarts, the Uber Eats, et cetera. There are platforms. There's one called Wince that is kind of a full turnkey e-commerce online platform that a bricks and mortar retailer could then plug into, and they take care of your cart and your inventorying of, or your cataloging of your items, and how you buy them, where they get delivered to, accepting payments, things of that nature. So that would be a good start. But I think things like curbside pickup, you do on your own. I mean, there are basic technologies that you can be notified when a customer's placed an order through an e-commerce site, for example. It's sent to your store itself. Your store then has one of your people gather the products and services, and through a text, when the person arrives at the store, they walk right out and put the merchandise in your trunk. So it might take a little searching. There are lots of platforms out there. It's easy to find, and it could be very helpful and very low cost, kind of like on a subscription-based model where they charge you a dollar amount per month as like what they call software as a service model to get that employed.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think we're at our time mark. Thank you so much for sharing so much interesting insights, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do this today, and we'll definitely stay in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being on your show.